Sometimes when you're living on autopilot and you're so deep into it, you may not realize it, but you're saying really negative things about yourself and your life and your circumstances. You're passing it off as almost self-deprecation, but you don't really realize the damage that is doing on your life. Hi, my name's Elena. I'm a therapist, and I'm going to hold your hand when I say this. Your words hold so much power. This is part 3 in the autopilot series and how we're going to break out. Now, part 3 is all about your outputs. So, our outputs is all related to what we are saying about ourselves and our circumstances, how we are basically presenting that to the world. When you speak about yourself in a negative way, or you talk about your life in a negative way, let's say I wake up every day and I say, I hate myself, I hate my life, I have the worst life ever, I have the worst job, the worst friends, the worst this, blah, 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 blah. Basically, in your brain, you have something called the reticular activating system, which is essentially a filter for everything that comes in and out. And when you are repeating these things to yourself, your brain says, okay, that's what I'm looking for. I'm now looking for evidence in my world that makes that true. So you're telling me that you have the worst life ever. Okay, bet. Let me show you that you do have the worst life ever. You're telling me that your friends are horrible. Okay, amazing. I'm going to find ways to prove to you that your friends are horrible. When we're living in autopilot, we oftentimes don't realize what we're saying about ourselves. We don't realize the negative things that are coming out of our mouth about our life. What I challenge you to do is to take note for one day and one day only. What are you saying to yourself about yourself? How do you feel about yourself? When you are sitting there and you're thinking of you and your life and who you are in the world, are there more negative things coming up than positive? And if there are, how are you expressing that to others? Are you constantly telling others of how you don't feel good about yourself? Are you constantly making jokes about your life and how you don't think it's going well? Are you constantly feeling like you are failing and you're not doing as much as you should? This ties back into this very popular concept of cognitive restructuring through CBT. When you have a negative thought like that about yourself, you want to first try to stop it in its tracks, right? So this is where breaking out of autopilot happens, because you become mindful. By you becoming more mindful of what you're saying, you can now take more action in when you are saying something negative about yourself. When you are thinking something negative about yourself, you're going to first stop it. And then you're going to reframe that with something else. I am just so behind in life and I just think nothing's ever going to work out for me. Okay? What I would say in that moment is that is not true. That is just a bad memory. That's just something coming up. That's not true. I am exactly where I need to be and everything in my life will work out because I'm working towards my goals and the things that I want for the future. In order to take control of this and be more out of that autopilot, it comes down to repetition. You do this with all the negative thoughts you have. It says if you take an extra moment to really process what you're thinking before you say it. I sit there every single day and I tell myself my life is so amazing. Everything always works out for me. People are so great. I love everything I do. Beautiful. My reticular activating system is going to look for things in my surrounding to prove to me that that's true. This might look like paying more attention to the little details that we might miss in life that actually bring positivity to us. I hope that you can take this and practice, repeat, repeat, repeat. Come back in 2 days for the next part, which is changing your environment.